What's up? Hello, everybody. Do people want to watch the Trump speech? I'm going to do a quick poll. I'm sort of interested. Do you want to watch Trump speech? I know it's already started. I don't know how long it's been going. But quick poll. Hello, everybody. Wow, what a show. This is the Lichtman Live post show with Sam Lichtman, not Allan Lichtman. Wow, what a show we just had on Lichtman Live. We hit 8,000 viewers, which was like blew our record out of the water. I don't think we've even got. I think we've done half of that, like 4,000. Wow, people really don't seem to want to watch. I have to change the whole title of my. Let's not give Trump any ratings. Why watch a gaslighting event? Turn on the speech. I had enough. All right, seems like most people don't want to watch. All right, I'm gonna need to change my title. All right, change my title. Can I change my thumbnail still? I'm not sure. Yes, I can. All right, so a lot has happened since I went live. Since I went live on my channel, obviously. We've been going live on my dad's channel, but a lot has happened since I went live. Let's see what has happened. Growing calls for Biden to resign, obviously. The Trump assassination attempt, the RNC. My dad debated Cenk from the Young Turks. He's been all over the media. A lot has happened. I'll just start fielding your guys' questions. If you already asked a question, you can start asking me now. I'm not going to scroll up. Well, should I scroll up? Let me end this poll. People don't want to watch this. I think I've already lost a bunch of questions. So if you want to start asking me questions now, I'll start looking at them. Faden Fox says, so what are the chances of a third party president? Almost none. Kumar Ivy says, it would be hilarious if Dems come up with a Clooney/Newsom ticket backed by Hillary, pollsters, and paparazzi. That would be hilarious. That would be a dark, dark day for the Democrat Party. I'll tell you that much. Democratic Party. Boris Eckner. How many times have you been approached by Dems asking for advice? If yes, what did you tell them? If no, what would you tell them? I guess that's from my dad. He is no longer here. He's definitely been approached many times by Dems. He tells them the same things he tells you guys, you know. His stances on things aren't a secret, you know. What's it like to be his son? It's awesome to be his son. He's a great dad, and he's a pretty smart cookie, you know. He's taught me a lot throughout the years. You know, I don't think growing up I really cared that he was like semi-famous, and I still don't, but I'm definitely more aware of it now, that's for sure, right? Do I still think Biden will win in a landslide? Yeah, kind of. I don't know if he's going to be the nominee, but I do think he's still going to win easily. I know that sounds nuts, but I really, just my gut feeling, I really don't think Americans are going to reelect Donald Trump. And I saw a poll somewhere that like the number one issue people are voting on is democracy. And if that's the case, Trump is finished. Ruben Martinez says, was really happy to see Allan put Cenk in his place. You know what, guys? It's interesting. I didn't love that debate. I thought my dad was a little, I mean, he was calm, but he was a little bit kind of, his ego got in the way, and he felt a little arrogant to me at times, and it felt like he was using too much of his energy on Cenk instead of on Cenk's issues. He was attacking his record over and over and over again. I thought our video did a much better job of taking care of Cenk. I wasn't the biggest fan of the debate. I didn't think it was bad, but I didn't think it was great. Do you think Biden will be the nominated? I'm not sure. My dad's 60% chance he steps down. I'm at like 40%, I would say. That's where I'm at right now. Jamie Smith says, why would you and Allan think your audience would want to watch Trump tonight? You know that would upset us. Just to see what he's saying. I mean, my dad's a presidential historian. You know, when we were driving here, I asked him, I was like, do you want to watch the Trump speech? And he was like, not really, but I probably should. You know, that's the thing. It's like, it's kind of like his job too, kind of, you know. And I know it upsets people, but I think it's also important to know what he's saying, you know. Vita for Life says, Sam, if you get a chance, can you share your thoughts and ask your dad about the Harris-Romney bipartisan ticket? Is that a thing people are talking about? I haven't heard that. That would be quite interesting. Very interesting, in fact. I don't hate that, to be honest with you. I don't hate it. Of course, I've lost my place. Kevin says, Sam, are you happy with Spain winning the Euro final? Not at all. They're like one of my least favorite international football teams. I was rooting for England hard, very hard. In Europe, I usually root for Switzerland because my mom is Swiss. And then Germany and England backed behind that because my mom is also part from the UK and she's Germanic Swiss. So I usually root for Switzerland above all, and then the second tier is like England, Germany, and then nobody else. So I was quite upset. Jack Davis, long time. Good to see you. Michael Mayara says, famous Will Rogers quote, I am not a member of any organized political party. I am a Democrat. Right. Right. MD says, if Biden does not resign but gives delegates to Kamala, would that preserve the third party key? I don't see how that would affect the third party key necessarily. H-Fan says, Joe Meechin has confirmed he's not preparing a speech for Biden, dropping out. The reports are false. Yeah, that seemed like a weird report. It felt strange. Cameron Keir says, Biden is going down the same exact path as Dianne Feinstein. I do not think Biden is in the same mental or physical shape as Dianne Feinstein. I just don't. Who would you think could take Biden's place? The only person in my mind who can take Biden's place is Kamala. This idea that like we're just gonna, I heard Andrew Yang on CNN last night saying, yeah, we'll just have these weird town halls and debates and there'll be 6-7 Democrats and it'll be must-see TV and we'll pick from them. Dude, that would be a circus. That would cause chaos within the party. People wouldn't even know who's running, you know, by the time the general election's coming along. I mean, a terrible, terrible idea. Kamala is the only option in my mind. Who is winning the 2024 election in your opinion? I believe whoever the Democrat nominee is will win. That's my opinion. Lasagna loving cat says Trump is now talking about how his magnificent ears bleed more than any other part of the body. No, that can't be true. Is that real? He really said that? Vincent Valentine says, is Sam tucking in his dad? I should be. He went back to sleep for sure. That man is tired. That man needs to rest. Do I think Biden will step down? I think I said this 40% chance in my mind. Alabaster Fantasia is back. Man, what a name. Does Allan get tired of having to repeat himself so much? It seems like he sure has to sometimes. Your dad's a pretty great guy. I have noticed he's looking a little worn down in these last couple of weeks. And I think it is because he's just saying the same thing over and over again. It's kind of just hitting a brick wall. Nobody's really listening, it seems. At least nobody who seems to have any power is really listening. Eric Cartonston says, watching in fear from Australia, I hope Biden withstands the pressure and stays in. Yeah, it's getting to be a little dicey. I was pretty cool, calm, and collected, and I'm usually pretty cool, calm, and collected about politics, but like, it's getting a little weird. As I changed my title to "Shit is wild right now." Shit is wild right now. Queen Sarabi says, "Was your dad saying that Biden stays, we're screwed, but if he doesn't, we're screwed?" My daughter's having no panic attacks. Tell your daughter everything's okay. He's saying that Biden gives the Democrats their best chance to win based on the keys. And if he does step down, he needs to resign, make Kamala president so she retains the incumbency key and is obviously the consensus nominee and keeps the contest key. What are Trump's chances of winning in November? I'd say 20% chance. Deborah Bettel says, "Do you think more information on Project 2025 will persuade voters to vote blue, even if Biden and Harris aren't on the ticket?" Yeah, I think the more they talk about Project 2025 and the policies and the ways it'll change Americans' lives, the better. Now we're starting out. I don't know about even if Biden and Harris aren't on the ticket. If either of them aren't on the ticket, something crazy's happened, and then I don't know. And then Project 2025 has little sway, in my opinion. If Biden dropped out, do you want to replace him? Do you want to replace him? Me? I'm not in politics and I'm not old enough, if that's what you're asking. Yankee fan 0747 says, "Sam, how do I go about donating to your dad's podcast?" I believe there's donation buttons. There's a join link if you want to become a member. The Russian Wookiee says, "What does your dad mean by what the Dems have done to Biden is unsalvageable? In what sense does that affect the keys?" Did he say that? I don't remember him saying unsalvageable. Ian Matheru, my good friend, says, "Why haven't the media been insisting on seeing Trump's medical report or talking to doctors attending after assassination attempt? Was Trump hit by a glass shrapnel or a bullet?" That's a good question. That question hasn't really been answered. And that is a good question. It's like, what are we going to hear more about that? Or it's just, well, that's it. That is a good question. I have no idea why they're not getting answers to that. Just Julie says, "Sam, I just subscribed. I found your dad's channel. Yes, I want Biden to stay in the race. Thank you." Thank you for subscribing. If you're watching, there's 300 of you. Like the stream, subscribe. That'd mean a lot to me. Let's take a poll to see if Sam is single. I think I could answer that, no? I am single, just so you know. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Janice Johnson says, "I agree with you, Sammy. People act like I am crazy, but Biden will win." Look, there's no denying that the poll numbers are wild. And there's some really bad polling for Biden. There's no doubt. But polls, you can't live and die by the polls. You just can't. Dudley Murdoch says, "Will America be like and become Nazi Germany and Soviet Union even if MAGA controls power or no?" Didn't we answer this last week for you, Dudley? No, we're not. I don't think America's turning into Nazi Germany or the Soviet Union. What's my favorite drink from Starbucks? I don't go to Starbucks ever. I don't drink coffee. I drink peppermint tea and ginger tea. That's it. And I make it at home. Sorry, I felt like that answer made me feel like I was come across as like arrogant or like hoity-toity. "I only drink peppermint tea and ginger tea, and I make it at home." Wades of World says, "Hi, Sam. Your dad said there's precedent with JFK and FDR, but they both died. I don't think there's precedent with someone voluntarily stepping down. Your dad's thoughts on the four-man." That's a fair point, actually. Maybe I should bring that up to him. That, like, yeah, the precedent is sort of a forced precedent. But that's, I think, why he's saying you got to stick with plan A, because even though there's some precedent, this is pretty unheard of, and who knows what could happen next. The Russian Wookiee says, I like how your dad didn't directly acknowledge Cenk for the first 5 minutes. He talked about him like he wasn't there. Dude, so I was sitting next to my dad for that debate because I set him up with like the camera and the mic and everything. His whole demeanor was weird. Like it switched once he went on air. Like he was like very happy-go-lucky, and then suddenly he's on air and he looked very serious. And yeah, he was like kind of spacing out at first, and I don't know what the hell happened. It was weird. Ellen Morrison says, are you guys coming to Chicago for the convention? Wasn't planning on it. Why would we do that? MIA says, the polls are batshit crazy right now. They have Trump winning. The polls are crazy. I don't even really know what the polls are like. I don't even really follow polls. I've seen plenty of CNN. People say the polls are, a nightmare for Biden, plenty of people. And then I see polls where he's at like 50-50. And then I see polls where he's like 30%. I don't know. They're nuts. Chad Mead says, do you think about the chances that Biden will resign instead of just finishing the term and then give it up? That's too convoluted. In my mind. Which poll do you trust the most, even though in general you don't trust them? I don't know. Emerson College, because that's my alma mater for grad school at least. If the fools get Biden to step down, do you think Harris will win? And if so, by what margin? Yes, I think Harris will win. By what margin? I think the same. I don't think, again, like my dad says, like he wants to eliminate words like electability. I don't think the candidate themselves matter a ton. Unless, again, you're talking about extreme rare candidates like a Trump or an FDR, etc. Anthony F says, God dang it, I lost my place. Where are you, Anthony F? Dude, I don't know why YouTube, dude, this is driving me crazy on my dad's too. Thank you, Jeff Crusan, for helping me. Like, why don't they just let you have the full chat available? Why do they bump you to the most recent chat and then you can't load past the chat past a certain point? It's ridiculous. It's annoying as hell. And now I can't find where I was. I'm sure this is great content to watch. A guy watching a man scroll through his chat trying to figure out where he last was. Was I really this far back? I guess so. Because the stuff I'm reading, no. I'm way too far back. Sorry, guys. What did I say the guy's name was? Anthony F. Of course, I can't read the chat right now because I'm trying to find my place. Holy shit. Can I command F? Here we go. Okay, I found my place. Sorry about that, folks. I had to use Command F. Anthony F. says, Sam, I've been debating with my dad over the 2024 election. He thinks Trump will easily win because of the economy and also the recent issues that Biden has been having. What do you think? The economy is pretty good on paper, and if you follow the keys, the metrics that the keys use, the economy is pretty good. I know people say that the perception is off on the economy, that inflation is out of control, but historically, the metrics that, sorry, I got a hair in my mouth, the metrics that affect the keys are pretty good. And the recent issues of Biden, I think most people who would vote for Biden would vote for a corpse over Donald Trump, honestly. Matt Howard says, do you think a governor or senator stepping in to run for president from a swing state like Michigan will win other swing states that aren't their home state? For example, can Whitmer win Wisconsin? I don't think so. I don't think that's a thing. I don't know if there's any historical precedent for that, but like just my gut reaction is like, just because you're from Pennsylvania doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win Michigan. Hellbrun says, your dad is the key master and you are the gatekeeper. Let's go, bro. Um, Roberta Kelly says the Dems will win even with Kamala on top of the ticket. I agree. My great friend Cameron Kerr says, I think we have a Biden unfit for office scandal / cover up. What's the cover up exactly? What are they covering up? His age and his gaps are very public, extremely public. So I'm not sure what you mean by a cover up. You'd have to elaborate on that. Kuro88 says, used to love Cenk, but he's way too much of a doomer. I can't handle that negativity. Ozo Isco says, I pray he doesn't, and I almost never pray. You pray what? You pray what? Kumar Iyer says, how dare Pelosi and Schumer, etc., ask the elected president of the U.S. to stand down? Biden can easily push everyone back. He has earned the delegates. I kind of agree. It is kind of nuts that these, like, Democrat elites are like, yeah, you're a duly elected president, but just get out. It's like, bro, I understand the point. My dad's not as sympathetic to this, but I do understand the point that, like, in this election cycle, no one ran against him, right? But I don't think you can discount the fact that he ran in 2020. People knew how old he was going to be. And I know he said he was going to be a transitional candidate, but that's so broad. I mean, what does that mean exactly? And he won a primary. Like, what are you supposed to do? Queen Sarabi, I would reach out to somebody about that question. There are hotlines for that. Not to discount, I just don't want to say that word live on stream. I would contact one of the hotlines for that issue. I am not, I don't have the expertise to deal with that. Aaron says she's watching Trump and Republicans look like crazy teen pop fans. That's funny. Can you tell us a bit about you? This is Mike Van's story. Okay. My name is Sam. I grew up in the DC area with my parents. And at first I thought I was probably going to be a lawyer. But then I kind of fell in love with film and media, and I ended up going to school for film and media and communications. I've worked in journalism, PR, media, film, all kinds of different stuff. I went to grad school for film and media. I currently live in Los Angeles, California. That's a little bit about me. More specific. It's kind of hard to answer generally, right? Harris Cheney ticket? No way, dude. Cheney sucks, dude. I mean, I respect her for what she did standing up to Trump, but policy and politics-wise, she sucks. Ann Peng says, we want to hear your thoughts on Trump's speech without having to watch Trump. Well, maybe I'll do like a reaction video because I don't know how to make that possible. That seems hard. Trump is trying to gaslight everyone into thinking he's a president for all. That tone won't last more than 2 weeks. Well, at least he's doing it, right? I don't know. Has my dad ever thought of making a separate beta version of the model that assigns weight to the keys? He's talked about weight. It doesn't work. I don't know why, but he's talked about that. H-Fan says, Sam, Biden's staff have been saying that he's not planning on dropping out. The media is likely distorting this. Yeah, I kind of feel like they're distorting this a little bit too. I feel like I get a notification every couple hours in the past couple of weeks, like, oh, it's coming. Someone close to him saying he's dropping out, and then he doesn't. So I don't know. But it does seem like it's getting into a bit of a fever pitch. Will the U.S. become... Oh, I answered that. Am I going to play Resident Evil again? Yes, definitely. And I like the new NCAA football game is out. I'm definitely going to play that on stream too. Luis Torres says, what's your opinion of the best combo? Kamala Kelly, Kamala Whitmer, or Kamala Bashir? You know, I haven't really thought much about who would be the VP to Kamala. I just don't really give a about VPs, and I don't really care that much. I'll just go with what my dad said, Bashir. Michael Nightwolf says, at this point, it would be best for Biden to step down. Maybe so, man. I don't know. I've lost perspective. There's so much. I feel like right now there's just a whirlwind of mud and dust. I can't even see like 4 feet in front of me. It's like the visibility. I don't even know which way's up. It's just like there's so much shit flying around and opinions, and it's like, dude, I can't even figure this shit out. Cenk thinks Biden is 100% stepping down. Yeah, I know that. I think he's made that pretty clear. Jamie Smith says, if we end up with Harris, I would be proud to have our first woman president, but it's sad that we have to get there by acting stupid. Almost kind of ruins the historic significance of it. That's a fair point. I kind of feel similarly. It does kind of feel like it happened in a stupid way. Cameron Keir says, where were you when the shooting happened? How did you find out? I was at my parents' rental in Manhattan Beach, and one of my friends just like texted on a group chat like, holy someone got shot at Trump's rally. And I immediately looked it up, and there was like no major news sources reporting it, and I was like, huh. And I saw this like PBS report, and I was like sort of skeptical of it, and I saw this PBS report saying like loud bang at Trump rally, and then after that it was like the floodgates opened and all the media was talking about it. Alex C says, why would you even watch Trump though and give him more views? You know, everything he says is BS. I think people are going soft on Trump now. I don't know. I just like hearing everything sometimes. I just like to hear what he's saying. I don't like watching it. I'm not like, I don't know. I can't really explain it. I just like to know what people are saying, and Trump included, because he could be and is a powerful man. Tamara Jefferson says, Biden is a stubborn Scorpio. He's not stepping down. There you go. Tamara said it. I don't need the Washington Post to do any reporting. He's a Scorpio. And he's stubborn. And he ain't stepping down. If Kamala takes the presidency, is the only key lost the primary key? No, she could. I think my dad made it clear that she could still retain both keys. If he resigns, makes her the president, and she automatically becomes the Democratic nominee. Cameron Keir says, Plan B might be the Democrats' only chance because they're damaging Biden beyond repair. No doubt, man. It's. I think I said this in my dad's stream. It's nuts what the Democrats are doing to Biden. Like, just from their own, just from a PR, public affairs perspective, it's nuts, dude. They're tearing that man down. They look like idiots. Like, it's just crazy. Queen's Robbie, if Biden stays in, my dad hasn't made a prediction yet, but a lot would have to go wrong for Biden to lose. If Biden drops out, Kamala needs to be the president. Have I seen Inside Out 2? No, I haven't seen that yet. Anxiety is driving the Democratic Party, and they will need to find some joy. I agree with that. Wing Sabri. I totally agree with that. Will the U.S. be... Dudley, I answered this already. If Biden stays in office but gives his delegates comment, does it preserve the no party contest? Yes. I believe but that's still risky because you're losing still one key. You're still losing the incumbency key. So it's still risky. What about Gretchen Whitmer? What about her? She's totally untested on a national scale. Like, she seems fine, but how do we don't know anything about her on a national scale, that is. And like in the polls, she's not doing any better than Biden is against Trump in hypotheticals. What's the chance that Haley supporters vote Democratic? Obviously, I don't have like a real answer to that, just like a gut feeling. Probably some will, but I don't think Many will. Vincent Valentine, is Sam single or not? Did I answer this? Yes, I'm single, Vincent. How many times are you gonna ask that question? Did I beat Resident Evil 4? No, I haven't played it since I played it on stream. I've been busy, man. People forget I have a full-time job too, okay? Maybe the drop Biden thing is just a psyop. What is a psyop again? Psyop. Oh, psychological operations. By who? Elaborate. Give me more context behind that comment. Michael Mayara says, we already had a primary and open convention to be a disaster and would lose the contest key. I agree. If they were this worried about Biden, like one debate was the trigger for them, like they couldn't have thought of this sooner. You know what I mean? DNC didn't do their homework and now will flunk the election test. Shouldn't they have addressed the age concern last? That's what I just said. You're just saying what I've said. Like, yeah, we should have addressed this a long time ago if it was this big of an issue. Chad Mead says, how do you think that the Democrats have encouraged Biden to drop out will respond if he doesn't leave the race? I think eventually, like if we're at the convention, he's the nominee. Of course, I think these Democrats will support him, but at that point they already have, and by that point they certainly will have done a substantial amount of damage to themselves and to Biden. JT says, democracy is definitely at stake in this election. Andrew Yang wanted to give every American $1,000, an idea he stole from McGovern. Democracy is fragile. There's no doubt. And it's really pissing me off. People saying like, oh, you can't say Trump is a threat to democracy. It's like people are saying he's a threat to democracy based on his own words and his own policy. And you have to be able to debate words and policy without being like, that's too heated to say that. It's like, then he shouldn't say his policies and he shouldn't say the words that threaten it. It's not on me, it's on him. Opinion on a Harris Buttigieg ticket. Again, I don't really care about VPs. Doesn't really matter to me. Walletta Morgan says, I don't see America voting for a woman at this time, especially a woman of color. There's just too much hate in the world right now. Biden needs to stay in the race. Like my dad says, I don't, electability and candidacy and, all that stuff, I don't think it really matters. Like my dad's system says, it's either a vote up or down on the party holding the White House. It's that simple. Oleb says, Kamala is a poor fallback option. Biden should be the candidate because he's got the best chance to win. He can resign after being sworn in on January 20th, and then Kamala can run twice. I just think that plan is too convoluted. It's too much of like a vote for me this time and then I'll drop out and then you can vote for. It's just like there's too many layers to it. I also think Biden is the best chance. I think, again, my only point is throwing away an incumbent president is just nuts. It's just nuts. Can I outrun Allan in a 5K race? Of course. What are you talking about? I'm 32. He's in his 70s. Yes, I can beat him in a 5K. I have beaten him very recently in a 5K. Let's say that. Turkey Trot and our runs here in LA, I've beaten him by a lot. When did you get involved in politics? I'm not involved in politics. I'm not involved in politics. I just produce a show for my dad who talks about politics, and I have my own channel too where sometimes I talk about politics, but I wouldn't consider myself involved in politics. I don't really like politics actually very much. I know that's a wrong crowd to say this around. It's not that I don't think politics are important or that politics matter. I just don't really like it. it gives me a politics give me a queasy feeling in my stomach. It's so slimy. Maybe 2 nights live for your dad is too much, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like there's so much to talk about now. It's like we can barely even get to all of the questions in 2 nights. Like in one night, we will barely even scratch the surface of the questions. You know what I mean? Michael says, it seems to me that the Democratic elites and media on the East/West Coast and big donors are behind these post-debate coup. Yeah, they definitely are. I mean, I don't even think that's a secret. The thing is that they'll say that they're only doing it because the people in polling are telling them to do it. It's like, oh no, it's not just the elites colluding and making decisions. Like, we're doing this based off of the people, the polls. But the issue is, as my dad said, you can't run elections off the polls. That's nuts. The COVID diagnosis didn't help the situation. No doubt. No doubt. I mean, I think he'll be okay in the end, but it's no doubt it didn't help. What if Obama came out tomorrow and publicly called for Biden to withdraw? I think that would probably be big. I mean, I'm not sure what your question is. That would be a big thing. And yeah, I think it would certainly sway and tilt Biden to withdrawal, probably. I don't know if it would be the deciding factor, but it wouldn't be big. It would be big. I lost my train of thought. One of the reasons for attention is that Biden wants to tax the rich and antitrust. You really think that's part of the reason? It feels a little too conspiratorial to me, but I guess it's possible. Andrew Santos says, do you think Democrats believe they have the leniency to push Biden out, even if they lose the incumbency and Keys would still lean in their favor? I don't think they're thinking about the Keys, one. Yeah, they have a little leniency, but man, that margin is small. So I don't think that's on their mind at all. No. If Trump just wins Pennsylvania and Georgia, Trump wins, right? Do you think that is likely? I don't, there's no context behind that. I mean, what does the rest of the country look like? Do I think he's likely to win Pennsylvania and Georgia? I don't think he's going to, no. Oleb says, I'm afraid your dad bringing up Plan B encourages people to have Biden resign, and that won't be as good as Biden. Yeah, but he has to give some alternative, because if he doesn't and they do it anyways and then something crazy happens, then everything is fucked. JT says Biden is the best chance. If he does resign, Biden must give his full support for Harris to preserve collective support. I agree with that totally. Eric Karstensen says, I'm seriously disappointed with Barack Obama. After everything Joe Biden did for him, being a loyal vice president, then when Biden needs his help the most, he throws him on the bus. I kind of agree with you, man. I kind of agree with that, actually. I think my dad does too, and he always mentions, Barack Obama thinks he's this genius political strategist, but I don't know if he is. He's definitely an amazing orator. He's definitely an amazing people person. Is he an amazing politician? Maybe. Is he amazing political strategist? I don't think so. Secretary of State Andrew is here. They say, hi, I'm a longtime viewer. It's hard for me to make these lies. Well, I'm glad you're here. Does Kamala lose the major policy key if she becomes president? What key or keys do they lose if she runs? I don't think she loses any of the keys if she becomes president. Steve Bob JD says, let's be real. If Kamala becomes president, the GOP House will never approve whoever she picks as VP. Am I wrong? That's definitely an issue. There's no doubt. I don't know how that's why the Kamala option, Plan B, is still sketchy, because there's still so many unknowns to it, you know? Jasmine Clark says, Sam, your dad should call the DNC office, Jamie Harrison, and have them give him the info with the keys in Biden. I have his number. Well, email my dad and give my dad Jamie Harrison's number if you have it. Queen Sarabi, you need to get the kid into some therapy. You need to maybe reach out to some hotlines if there's an emergency. I don't mean to be dismissive, but I just don't think a YouTube chat is the place to get that kind of help. If Trump loses, what do you think will happen to the Republican Party? It'll be damaged. Definitely be damaged pretty bad. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think J.D. Vance is that great of a candidate. Maybe Don Jr. will take the mantle. I heard more people were chanting Don Jr. 2028 than JD 2028 at the RNC. So maybe that's a sign. On your dad's live, is there a way to stop the ability to submit questions after certain points so that people aren't paying for questions that won't be answered? I can announce it. I don't know if there's a tool within YouTube to stop it. I doubt it. But I can announce, like, yo, the issue is I've got so much on my mind. I'm trying to listen to what he's saying, look at the live chat, keep up with the questions that are coming in. It's just hard for me to remember to be like, oh yeah, and we're not answering any more questions. But I am trying to figure out a way to deal with all that. And if you have any ideas, throw them my way. I would much appreciate them. Secretary of State Andrew says, I know you're a big fan of Ozu. What are some of your other favorite directors? Ooh, that's a tough one. It's not that tough. My other favorite directors are Jean-Pierre Melville, Akira Kurosawa, Martin Scorsese, Robert Bresson, Jean-Luc Godard, just to name a few. Kuro88 says, I'm having a panic attack with how bad things are. Sometimes I feel like my future is non-existent. I think everything will be okay still. And don't get too caught up in the media shitstorm. You know what I mean? Try to stay grounded. Don't step away from the news. Step away from politics for a little bit if you're feeling that badly. Biden stays in. How many electoral college votes does he win? I don't know. I have to do a map. I don't know off the top of my head. When has the media ever successfully held Trump to account? I don't agree there's this notion that they just let Trump slide. I mean, Trump has been grilled and criticized by the media for a very long time. I am of the notion that he gets his fair share of shit. I mean, tons of shit. Cameron Kerr says, Sam, if your dad showed up looking like Biden during the debate, what would you do? Well, if my dad was president and I knew what he was doing behind the scenes, I would judge him off of that and not off the debate. If Biden steps down but does not resign and names Harris as the nominee, do you lose both the contest and incumbency key or just incumbency key? Just incumbency key. What did I study in college? Communications, film, and media. Colt got you says, we want to see that ear wound. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to see it too. I want to see it. Spider-Man says, how much will Hulk Hogan affect the election with him endorsing Trump? I'm sure Hulk Hogan has a huge influence, right? Sarcasm. Queen Sarabi also loves peppermint tea. Shout out to you, Queen Sarabi. Michael, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Mayara says, if polls were predictive, we would be at the end of the second Hillary Clinton term. That's nuts to think about. I've never thought about it like that. What kind of content do you make on this channel? I'm trying to figure that out. I like streaming video games. I like just chatting. But yeah, I don't really know exactly. So you can help me out with that maybe, Ruben, if you have some ideas. Your dad says the odds of Biden stepping down are 60%. That's what he said tonight. I think he was a little overly excited on that, but he was a little high on that percentage. But Vincent Valentine says, on a serious note, are you going to follow in your father's career footsteps? Your father is my favorite person ever. I don't think so. I don't really like politics. I don't have a degree in anything that he would be helpful to follow in his footsteps. I don't have a degree in history. I don't have a degree in political science. I don't have a degree in even statistics. So, no. I'm pursuing a career in film, media, and communications, basically. So, I don't know. Yeah, that's the answer. Ross Goldberg says, hey, Sam, I know you're not an expert in social science, but what is your opinion about American society and our country's political system compared with other first world countries? I think it's fairly conservative in its structure compared to other first world countries. And American society is also much more conservative than other developed countries too. Even though it might not seem like that, I think if you look at them comparatively, it's quite stark how different they are. Have you thought about collecting questions for the show via email so you can consolidate and repeat and cut out from searching? No, because we still need to make money. We need to make money, and donations are a huge part of that, and memberships are a huge part of that. So if we were to just do it via email, we would lose all that revenue, and that would not be good. Try some almond extract in your ginger tea. It tastes amazing. Really? I'll try that. Do you take more after your dad or your mom? I kind of feel like I don't take after either of them, but I feel like all kids say that, right? The co-chair of Biden's campaign just said on MSC that Biden still has no plans of stepping aside. All right, good. We've been saying that, right? Me and my dad were like, he shouldn't step aside. He's not going to step aside. I think we got nervous. We were getting nervous for sure, but... Pano says, I think your dad was really good in the debate against Cenk and not especially arrogant or something like that. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Is the next Professor Lichtman Q&A next Tuesday? Yes, we're doing Tuesdays and Thursdays, probably until the election, but that's not a guarantee. And, sometimes stuff happens. We have to move stuff around, but yeah. Zer45 says, if the average voter wouldn't answer a poll, how can polls be representative of the voter? Aren't they outliers by definition? I think that's a good point. Firestar464 says, hi there. So from what I read, Obama raised concerns, but it's Joe's choice in the end. So yeah, I wouldn't call one of the I wouldn't call one of the pushers just yet. Okay, that's a fair point. What are the odds you guys say Biden steps down? I was saying today 40%. My dad was saying 60%. Nate Silver has been demanding that Biden steps down on Twitter. Why are pollsters respected so much when they are wrong so often? Because they were right for a long time. And our election system and the polls lined up pretty well for a long time. Not that they were right, they lined up for a long time. And now that they're starting to not line up, people can't let go of them. They're too connected to them. And like I said, the media covers elections like a horse race, so they need the polls because it lets them have this day-to-day headline, you know. Do I think Trump support is where it was at in 2016, 2020? No, I don't. I really don't. I really think his height was in 2016, and he'll never get back there. Man, I don't know if I'm late on this chat, but so many people are asking me, who should be Kamala's VP? I don't know, and I don't care. I don't think it matters. Just to reiterate that. Susan C says, I don't understand how people think Trump is a good person, a good candidate for president. I don't think they really care if he's a good person. I think they more care, is he going to enact the policies that I want? And that's where their ship starts and ends. I don't know if that's the right term. Their ship starts and ends. That's all there is to it. Do I watch The Boys? No, but my roommate loves it, and he always recommends it, so I probably will. Wow, am I really that behind? Holy shit, I was really behind. God, I have no idea where I was. Sorry, folks, hang in there with me. I'm trying to see if I can find my place. All right, I'm just going to start at the top of here. The top of where I have my questions. Horizontal Harmonic says, how do we get to the point where the country is held hostage by idiots? It's not unlike parents who are controlled by their toddlers' tantrums. That's a good question. I think I have a lot to say about that, but I don't know how to form it. I don't know if I totally agree that it's held hostage by idiots. I think one, our primary system is messed up. I think ranked choice voting will help a lot. I think Biden and Trump are a result of a bad primary system. I also think that the media landscape is really, really poor right now. And I'm not even talking about the mainstream media. So many people go on and on about the mainstream media and how it's terrible. It's got issues. Most journalists who work in the mainstream media are really good. Obviously, there's pundits and talking heads that are the issue, in my opinion. But I also think, YouTubers, TikTokers who are these hyper partisan propagandists who go out there and just shove their agenda down your throat are a real problem. And they're influencing people, and they serve such bad faith arguments, and they serve such bad faith content. It's really damaging, and I don't like it. Diamond Dave says, do you think in the future there should be a maximum age limit on the presidency just as there's a minimum age limit, or should there be standardized medical / physical / mental exams of a candidate? I don't really like the idea of a maximum age. It feels ageist, and what if there's a candidate who is over that age who America loves and want to put in the office, and they're just like, oh, sorry, you can't, he's too old. So I don't really like that idea. Truman had an approval rate of 36% in 1947. The paper ran the headline erroneously the day after the election that said, Dewey defeats Truman. Yeah, I mean, I think my dad has pointed that out. I've heard a couple, like Cenk and Piers Morgan, say that nobody's won, an incumbent has won with this low of an approval rating, which is just not true. Do you think many registered voters are ignoring or not giving much weight to the media frenzy about President Biden, even if they might be watching just to watch? I think people are going to vote who they vote for, irregardless of the media frenzy. This is an interesting point. H-Fan says, one thing that's worth noting is that a lot of the supposed infighting among Democrats that the media keeps obsessing on are based on conversations from last week. That's why I feel confused, because I feel like, didn't Democrats have a big meeting in the House or in Congress, and they came out and they're like, we're with Joe, and then all these reports are coming out that they're not. So yeah, that makes sense that some of these are coming from last week. I still think there is quite a fever pitch, but that makes some sense. Trump is Trump still going? Patrick Murray says, Gretchen is doing a lot of press interviews lately. I think she's getting ready to run against Biden in case he drops, or she's prepping for 2028. Or she's getting ready to run against Biden? I think you mean to run in case he drops. Maybe so. I think that's a nightmare waiting to happen, is to just anoint somebody the nominee just because, like, yeah, she's good. Here you go. Unfortunately or fortunately, the Democrats think for themselves and are not as cultish united behind their team in a football fanatic fashion as MAGA is for Trump. That's a good point. And I think, there is, and in my dad's live, I bash them for, publicly doing what they're doing to Biden. I think that is a fair point. I do respect Democrats sometimes for just being upfront and honest. But the way they're doing this is slimy. They're like kind of in public saying they support him, kind of being wish-washy, saying things behind their back. So I don't think they're actually being genuine in this case, even though they are not cultish like MAGA. I don't think they're being genuine. How often do I make my bed? Never, Reza. Never. Very rarely, not never. Trump's speech will make you nauseous. So that's the thing too, is like sometimes I'll tune into Trump and I'll listen for a little bit, and then it does start to make me nauseous and I turn it off. I'm like an addict, like I know it's bad for me, but I tune in and then I'm like, fuck, this is bad for me. Victor Jackson says, Allan crushed it in the Young Turks debate. Cenk lied about his track record on president predictions and didn't own up to predicting Hillary 3 weeks before the 2016 election. That's why I stopped watching the Young Turks. Fair point. Queen Sarabi, my dad did say 60% chance he does drop, but remember, plan B is still a good plan. Don't forget that. Would it make a difference if Biden does take and pass a cognitive test? I don't know. I feel like we're so in the weeds at this point. It's hard to know what, if anything, would make a difference. If, it's hard to know. Do I have any strong Trump supporting friends? I think I do have some friends who have voted for Trump. They're not like super strong Trump supporters, though, I would say, but not a ton. Sorry, folks. I'm just reading these questions, trying to get one that I haven't answered already. Rata Bagata, that's quite a name, says, in Italy at the moment we have a right-wing party in government, but fortunately our constitution is made in such a way as to balance the powers. I don't know if the U.S. has the same antibodies. I mean, we do in theory. We also have balance of power and checks and balances and all that jazz. Alex C said, there's another debate coming up. Do you think Biden will step it up this time? He fucking better, dude. If he doesn't step down and he has another shit show of debate, I mean, it's gonna be a nightmare. It's just gonna be a nightmare. Did your dad predict Dems to win? He has not made a prediction yet. Slice Boy 2005 says, I suspect the elites don't like Kamala Harris and this is their last gasp. It's hard to say because I feel like Kamala Harris is a pretty traditional, like, Democrat, like establishment Democrat. I don't know why they wouldn't like her. Would be a mistake if Obama directly and publicly said Biden should step down. I agree with that. I totally agree with that. At this very late point in the election cycle, how, if at all, could the Republicans sabotage the current keys in their favor? Through the Supreme Court, maybe? Brennan Ziegler says, if Biden drops out, Democrats will be remembered as the party that sold out our democracy because they were too scared of one measly 90-minute debate. I don't know if I'm going that far. My dad's been going that far. I don't know if I'm going that far. I think they're scared and they do care about a democracy. I do think they genuinely think that Biden is going to lose. I do think they think that. I think they're wrong in thinking that, but I do think they genuinely think that, and I think they're scared. And I don't want to, I don't know, it feels like too much pressure to be constantly putting the weight of our democracy on people every other day. You know what I mean? That's just me. What's my best restaurant recommendation in Washington, D.C.? Ooh, that's a good one. My best restaurant recommendation in Washington, D.C. I can't think of anything right now. I'm blanking so hard. Oh, Allah. ALA is an Israeli place in DuPont Circle that I really like. That's the first one that came into my head. Ross Goldberg says Vance gave a terrible speech last night, not just in terms of how extreme and divisive it was, also not compelling at all. I didn't think it was bad, but I was kind of shocked at how bad of a public speaker he was, because I feel like he's so boisterous on, like, you know, one-on-one interviews or on, you know, TikTok or Instagram Reels. He didn't seem like a very confident speaker, which I was surprised about. Did I like Killers of the Flower Moon? I did like Killers of the Flower Moon. Dylan Alaistia says, you're an art house guy. What about your dad? My dad's more of a classic movies kind of guy. He's not really art house. Did I watch and enjoy the movie Civil War? I did watch and enjoy the movie Civil War. I thought it was almost a great movie. I didn't like the ending. Not to spoil it for anybody, but just personally, I didn't like the ending. I think if the ending was better, it could have been a great movie, but it was only a good movie. Sean P says, I'm not big on musicals, but I'm recommending the movie 1776 to you and your dad. If / when you have time, it's part of it's part of what inspired Hamilton. I do like Hamilton, so maybe I'll check it out. Holy Teacup says, Q&A suggestion. It looks like there's a way to add to info box during live streams. You could add FAQ answers there and refer people there during live streams because we move on to the next question. I don't know what you mean. Once this video is done, it's posted right in the comments. Try to explain it a little better if you could. Not that you didn't explain it well. I don't understand it. Do you all have a Patreon? If so, that could be an avenue for people to submit their questions and it could be sorted through to pick them ahead of time. That's not a terrible idea. It's not a terrible idea. Thoughts on the Trump speech? I didn't watch the Trump speech because people said they didn't want me to watch it. Ren team says, everyone please stop with the dictatorship crap or H comparisons. I think he means Hitler. Stop lying to yourself. Be mature. Okay, there's a couple of things with that. If Trump is quoting Hitler or publicly acknowledging things that Hitler said or did that he liked, you're just quoting him quoting Hitler. There's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, he's not the new Hitler, right? Dictatorship, he has said things and proposed policies that lean in that direction. People can't be scared to call out people's policies. There has to be an open debate without people saying, you're calling him a dictator. That's terrible. You're inflaming everything. It's like, well, I'm doing that because that's his policy. You know what I mean? Those are some of the policies that he has proposed or likes, et cetera, et cetera. God damn it, I lost my place again. Ryan says, shout out to the super chats that didn't get their money worth by not getting answered by Allan. I don't want people donating and not getting their questions answered. I don't want that, but I don't really know what to do. We need money to, to keep the show running. It's only fair that we get money for our time and effort, right? But yeah, I don't want people donating without paying. So I don't know what to do. I don't know. Do I prefer Snoopy or Garfield? Definitely Snoopy, for sure. People shouldn't associate donations with answering questions. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of big streamers and like YouTubers, they get donations and they don't even read them. They don't even interact with them at all. So I feel like we're doing a lot by trying to be as interactive with our audience as humanly possible, Olin Valdala says, how fucked is this country right now? I don't think it's that fucked, honestly. Again, if you get caught up in the media shitstorm, if you get caught up in Twitter and Instagram reels, it can seem really fucked. But I think if you walk out of your house, you spend time with real people, you go to real businesses, I think most people are okay. I mean, I'm not saying, and I understand that I'm a privileged person saying that, and there are lots of people struggling all over the world in the U.S., but I don't think we're totally fucked. Joe says, you said you don't want people to donate without paying. No, I don't want people. I don't like people. I feel bad when people donate and don't get their questions asked, but I don't know what to do about that. Pater says, do you know Kai Cenat? I mean, I know who he is. I don't know him personally. What did my dad think of my career choice? He's always been very supportive of whatever I wanted to do. So yes, he was supportive of my career choice. I know I missed so many questions. So if you have a question that I didn't answer, put it back in the chat. I'm just going to say at the bottom and try to keep up and, keep asking if you want your question asked. Shivam Loy, if Trump just wins Pennsylvania and Georgia, Trump wins, right? Do you think that's likely? Didn't I answer that already? Zyko says, the reports of Biden dropping out with a speech from John Meacham seem to be false, with a senior White House spokesman denying it and John Meacham denying it over text. Yeah, I think we talked about that too, didn't we? No. So Biden is still alive, okay, guys? Did I get straight A's in history classes thanks to your dad? I did well in history classes. I don't think I always got an A, but I always did well in history classes. Just because I like history and, must have rubbed off on me somehow. Harpia reports says, do you think that Trump will likely win if Democrats are acting after panicking and they don't have any clue about what's going on, as your dad knows according to the keys? I don't think Trump's going to win unless crazy shit happens with the Democrats' candidate and their nomination process. Then they could lose. Biden's staff leaking that he can only work 6 hours a day is not a scandal, or the visits by the Parkinson doctor. All right, the 6-hour thing is certainly not a scandal. I mean, it may be concern to some people. It's not a scandal. The Parkinson doctor, I don't know what the deal with that is. I don't know if that's even legal to disclose who he's visiting and why he's visiting. I don't necessarily think that Parkinson doctor visits, therefore cover up that Biden has Parkinson's. That's a jump in logic. We know that a Parkinson doctor has visited. That's all we know. I don't know what else that means. Would it be possible to bring a third person in to work behind the scenes on selecting questions or doing the technical stuff? We would have to make, I can't pay, the issue is I can't pay them. We don't make enough money to, like, you know, I would love to bring a producer on. I would love that, you know, a technical producer, but I don't make enough, we don't make enough money yet to, you know, we got 30,000 subscribers, you know, like there are channels out there with millions of subscribers, you know, who can afford to do that kind of stuff. We're just not big enough. We don't make enough money yet to afford to do that. I can't afford to pay someone a yearly salary. You know what I mean? What are my thoughts regarding the following? I don't get it. You should do a documentary on your dad's journey during this election. You said you're a film, right? That would be an interesting topic. I've thought about that a little bit. I thought about a broader one, not specifically this election. But that's an interesting thought. The Parkinson's doctor was at the White House because he signed a bill to help with Parkinson's. See, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm just saying that again, you can't jump from Parkinson doctor at White House, cover up a Biden have Parkinson's. There could be other explanations such as that. I can't verify that, but that's my point, is that there could be other explanations. And if that is true, then there you go. There's the explanation. 6 hours and Parkinson's were already debunked. The doctors were there for other stuff. Okay, there you go. Streaming is all about having fun. People need to stop thinking about it as a business. I don't know exactly. Of course, streaming is about fun, and we have fun all the time. But you also, you know, time is money. Money is time. People need to make a living, right? Do you and your dad think President Biden should stay in the race or use Plan B? President Biden should stay in the race. Plan B would secure 2 keys that they would lose if he just dropped out, but there's still a lot of unknowns that would come with Plan B. I heard that Secular Talk wants to invite your dad to debate about Biden. Is this possible that could happen? Yeah, definitely. I mean, if he emails my dad, looking at American.edu, he should be able to book him. No problem. Sam, you kick ass being a cameraman, producer, editor, host. Thank you, Tom T. I appreciate that. I don't mean to, like, I'm doing so much, like, but sometimes, like, people are like, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And it's like, guys, I can only do so much at once. You know what I mean? Judge Merchan is expected to issue a writing decision on the immunity arguments, which will set the stage for what happens next. Do you believe he will rule against Trump's claims of immunity? Sure hope not. That immunity shit's nuts, dude. It's literally like American monarchy. Okay, all the people who are holy teacups, I like Ross Goldberg's suggestions. I don't even remember what his suggestion is. So if you have suggestions for my dad's show about the donations and the reading the question stuff, when my video is over here, put them in the comments so I can come back to them. Sometimes it's hard to come back to the chat. If you could live in any state with no financial restrictions, which state would you choose for something more lighthearted? Probably California, where I already live. I feel like California offers the most diverse living, you know. There's beach, mountain, desert, forests, big cities, rural, you know. It's got the most to offer. Hawaii would be cool, but I also feel like Hawaii is too remote. If I could live in Hawaii with like all the action of LA, I would do that probably. Ross said, I said that I was thinking, why don't you email a response to each person who donated with a live question on your Allan Lakeman live channel? Because I tried doing that after Tuesday night, and it took me hours, and I didn't even finish. So that's not a tenable solution for my life. It takes way too long. I mean, hours. And then I have to involve my dad on certain questions that I can't answer. So that's not realistic for me. Can't you review chat history and answer in a different show? But then the questions may be stale and old at that point, right? Joe says, I don't know why people keep saying Biden has Parkinson's. Take a look at Michael J. Fox and you'll know what Parkinson's really is. That's a fair point. But Michael J. Fox has pretty late stage Parkinson's. It's theoretically possible that... I'm not going to even go there. Never mind. Sam, do you think CSULB is a good school? I just went there today for my orientation. It was fun. California State University, Long Beach. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. Long Beach is a cool place, and if you had fun, that's a good sign. What might work for unanswered questions by people who donate is collect those unanswered questions and do video answer for those questions at a later time. Again, that's going to take hours of my time. It's just like, not, I'd rather people just not pay at that point. I don't have the time and energy to do that. Thank you, Heartbeer Reports, for your kind words. Sean P says, if you want us to help volunteer to help organize the questions so that repeated questions are given their answers and no pay. I mean, so I already got this guy Jeff as a moderator, and he sends me questions. So if you also want to be a moderator, Sean, reach out to me on Instagram at SammyLicht. Do you think the president's support on the war with Israel and Ukraine is playing a major part in losing popularity? There's so much propaganda dislike regarding this issue. I don't think so. I don't think Ukraine or Israel is a huge driving factor in Americans voting right now. I don't know. Notice how no one is saying Biden has dementia anymore. Is that true? I feel like some people are saying that still. Mostly right-wingers, I guess, but Trump is literally lying. Is he still going? I guess it's only been an hour, right? Tom T said, I've seen your father make small appearances on news going back many elections. Now his popularity has soared. What happened? Building his YouTube channel helped a lot, I think. But, I mean, like, he's been pretty popular in the past. His last prediction has like 3 million views on New York Times. Sam, just wanted to say, from what we can see on the live stream, it appears you and your dad have a great relationship. That's so cool. Not everyone is that lucky. Good for both of you. Yeah, we do. And yes, I'm very lucky. I'm grateful for that. You can use a third-party software to handle questions queue. I've seen people on Twitch do it. It can be adjusted to go up and down donations. Oh. Again, put it in the comments after this one. More information about that. Do you prefer carpet or wood/vinyl flooring? Wood/vinyl. Carpet sucks, dude. Ross Goldberg says, I have to say, Sam, that I'm really grateful, not to just your dad, but also to you for being the one who's able and willing to set up your dad's live channel. Well, thank you, Ross. I appreciate that. You're a student, Sam, in my opinion. Keep focused on your studies and being an excellent Robin to your dad's Batman. I'm not a student. I haven't been to school in a long time. But thanks for that. Does libertarian ideology resonate with your political views? No, not really. Rambling speech is still going on. I have it on mute. That's. I guess, again, it's only been an hour, right? So it's not that crazy, but... Usually when Trump has to do these like long, very formal speeches, he's not very good. He's more good at just like freestyling to like his base, CNN's Van Jones. A bullet couldn't stop Trump. A virus stopped Biden. The Democrats are coming apart. The Republicans are coming together. I mean, let's hope a virus would stop Biden. Would you want him to go out in public with COVID and just keep doing his regular duties? Like, let's hope he would go home and chill. Anybody with that virus, I would hope would do that. I don't know. I mean, a bullet couldn't stop Trump. Yeah, I mean, he was certainly brave in that. There's no doubt about that. Mr. Cheese says, hey, Sam, stop watching Trump's speech. Worse than Biden's debate performance. Honestly, okay, maybe hype early, but not good for him. Yeah. I'm not surprised. Again, like I just said, he's usually not good in these big formal public speaking things. Why didn't you start Allan's YouTube in 2008? I should have, man. We'd have 5 million subscribers if we did by this point. What is the biggest fear you have of a second Trump presidency? That's hard to say. I don't even like to think about it, so I haven't really thought about it that much. I don't know. I don't really have an answer to that right now. Trump's supposed to speak for 90 minutes. Okay. That makes sense. Wait, it's over 90 minutes? He's been speaking for over 90 minutes now? So your dad is saying that not too much damage is done and Biden still has a chance if he stays in, correct? Correct. Yes, I'm going to stream more Resident Evil for sure. Vinyl plank is the newest replacement for real wood flooring. It looks as good as wood. You can get it wet, unlike wood, and laminates, and is warranted for like 30 years. I'm going vinyl then for sure. I'm just gonna turn on Trump's speech for a second. I hope you guys. No, I'm not. I just want to see what he's saying. Just for a second. It's boring. Boring speech. All right, I'm not. All right, you convinced me. I'm not. Fuck it. Do the keys apply to other countries? Not as they are now. Maybe they could be. Oh, the speech just ended. All right. I love Biden. This is Rob Pietras. I love Biden, but I find it hard to believe that a candidate's inability to form coherent sentences much of the time will have no bearing or enough people voting for him to win. I think you're underestimating how many people dislike Donald Trump and don't want him to win. I think you're underestimating how many people see the Biden administration and how well they've done, and they want to vote for that. And the man himself, whether he can string sentences together or not, is not top of mind when they're voting. D-Rabbit is a hater of vinyl flooring. It feels awful. I feel like I've felt it before. It feels fine. Trump was just rambling. That's so funny. How should the United States navigate strategic competition with China, particularly in the light of heightened tensions over Taiwan, trade disputes, and differing human rights standards? Fuck. Come on, bro. You expect me to answer that in a quick live stream? You could write 10 books about that. I overall believe that we should try our best to not constantly see China as our enemy. I just feel like I'm constantly, especially right-wing politicians, always being like, China, 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 enemy, 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 enemy. I can only see that ending badly. That's my only point about it, I would say right now. Jamie Smith says, I prefer carpet because it's soft, but carpet gets so. I like carpet, but it's not practical. It gets dirty, it gets stained. I know you can clean it, but that shit's expensive. During Trump's speech, she vowed to cure cancer and Alzheimer's. I think he's done that before, hasn't he? I definitely feel like he said he's going to cure cancer. I think Biden said that too, actually. So that's not that surprising. Trump mentioned the China virus. Did he really? He said that tonight? Jesus Christ. Do you and your dad still believe Harris has a chance if she truly becomes the nominee? Yes. The Parkinson's doctor visited the White House 8 times since last year. Cameron, do you just copy paste right-wing talking points on my chat? Like, we just talked about this. There could be an explanation why he visited 8 times, besides it being Donald Trump has Parkinson's. Right? Do you acknowledge that or no? Thank you, Tom, for the kind words. I appreciate that. I love you, Cameron, but I'm going to hit you with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to hit you. I'm just saying, like, I'm going to come back at your comments because some of them are wild. Not wild, but they just feel staged and they feel like propaganda and they feel like talking points. If Biden has a bad second debate, just like the first one, do you think he would lose despite your keys? No, I don't think so. You know, early in the episode, I was like, man, he better not have a bad second debate. I almost feel like it doesn't matter at this point. He's so low in the idea of like public speaking and his age. Is like, it doesn't even matter at this point what he does. I don't even think many people will even watch. The mainstream media annoys me with its speculation and medical diagnosis from armchairs. It's like body language evaluators. I agree. Yeah, I kind of get annoyed with it too. Sam, is there any way you can send me the link that explains all the keys I just caught onto your dad's channel? Monique, if you go, there's a Wikipedia page on 13 keys. It's probably the most well-rounded, clear, coherent explanation of the keys. Mr. Beast is flirting with the idea of running for president. I'm generally worried he could be a third-party spoiler in 2028 with his draw on young people. I'm so sick of these like politics by celebrity, man. It's so frustrating. Like, that's why I like Bernie Sanders. I know my dad is not the biggest fan of him, but I like him because he's just a dude who cared about people and started like politically involving himself rather than just being this celebrity who gets famous and then wants to insert themselves into people's lives politically. It's so annoying. Like, it just pisses me off. And here's another thing about Mr. Beast. His content sucks. Like, I didn't really know much about him for a while, but he got so popular to the point where, like, I was like, all right, I have to see what this guy's about. I looked at some of his videos. They're not good. They're like if you let like an ADHD AI create a video. They're not interesting. They're not funny. They're not like, they suck. They're not good. It's kind of nuts to me how popular he is. I mean, I know why he's so popular, because he's perfected the art of the thumbnail and grabbing your attention. That's why he's so popular. But his actual content is dog shit. Will you and your dad live stream any of the upcoming debates with running commentary? I would like to. I was having an issue with echoing while having my dad on Zoom and doing the debates. I thought I fixed it, but it came back last time, so I don't know. Do you believe we are a minority-ruled state, gerrymander, electoral college, filibuster, two-Senate primary process? I don't know if we're a minority-ruled state, but we are more of one than we should be. I don't know if we are a minority-ruled state, but there's too much minority rule than there should be, in my opinion. And people say, oh, but, that's what creates balance. No, it doesn't, at least not in modern politics. It creates stagnation, and the people who suffer because our government gets nothing done, and it flip-flops. Mr. Beast versus Sam debate incoming. Dude, come on. I would wreck him in a debate. Dude, come on. Mr. Beast is a fraud. I don't know if he's a fraud. And I do applaud him for, like, his humanitarian work and his charity work. I do applaud him for that. For sure. Do you have an older brother who is a professor? I do not have an older brother. I do not have a brother. My issue with Mr. Beast is that he's using doing a good cause as a way to make money. It feels like a cheap way of doing it. I agree with that to some extent, but at least he's doing it. You know what I mean? At least it's happening, which I think is good. The popularity of Mr. Beast speaks more about the state of North America and maybe the world of state of ignorance. I don't know if I would go that deep. I think it just has to do with the state of our current media landscape, and then it's all about clicks and attention, and that's about it. If hypothetically had the power to pick anyone to be president in 2024, who would it be? That's a tough question, man. Probably Cory Booker. I think I've said that before, right? I agree that debates are meaningless and based on a winner and loser, but Biden was a different thing. It was demonstrative of a cognitive decline, not bad policy ideas. Yeah, but everybody's known about that for a long time. This is not news. This is not breaking news. You know? Holy Teacup says 100% agree on Mr. Beast. Content sucks. He yells all the time. Painful to even hear him. And a lot of his programs that help, like planting trees, are poorly researched and fail. Well, if that's true, that's bad. Yeah. Partisan gerrymandering ruined the House. Republicans didn't win the House for 40 years till they rigged redistricting. Is that true? The real question is Mr. Beast chocolate any good? I don't know. I've never tried it. The real Capella says, I'm Australian. I have to say we have way longer memories. If there were an even similar to January 6th over here, there'd be no bouncing back from it for anyone involved. That is still a mystery of mine, how Trump is still around after January 6th. You would think, and after, like, also after, sending fake electors, calling Brad Rassenberger in Georgia and trying to find, votes. All of this to undermine the election, to overturn a free and fair election. The fact that Americans are still like, yeah, let's go with him. It's kind of nuts. I think some of it is people are brainwashed and really think that, this is all a media hoax and none of it's true. I do think a lot of people genuinely believe that. But like people who don't, why would you still support this guy? Ross Goldberg says, I thought about the idea of the filibuster being to protect minority rights, but now I don't think the filibuster is needed for that because of our U.S. Constitution already is protecting minority rights. See, that's what I agree with. Like, there is a case for minority rule, right? And that it protects certain people. But I don't think you see that in action ever. Ever. So it's like at a certain point, it's like, if you don't see it in action for the only good that it can cause, you got to think about changing it. What is your take on Bill Maher? I genuinely like Bill Maher. I think he's funny. Does he say some shit that I totally disagree with? Yes. Does he say some shit where I'm like, what the fuck are you saying? Yes. But generally, I do like Bill Maher. And I know a lot of people hate him, but I don't know. I've gone through phases. Like, I was a big Bill Maher watcher, and then I fell off when, around the pandemic, when he was just seemed to be going further right, and now I'm kind of back. So, I don't know. Nahiro Chan says, in my opinion, the best thing about Mr. Beast is that he defended his friend for coming out as trans. I think it will have a good effect on young guys who otherwise pulled towards the right. I agree with that. Totally. I respect him for defending his friend. I don't think Mr. Beast is a bad guy also. I mean, I don't know him personally, but there's nothing that I see that's like, that guy's a bad guy. My criticism of him is more about his content and his desire as this mega celebrity to run for politics. That's my criticism. We have already lost our democracy because of gerrymandering, outdated Senate system, outdated electoral system, too much money in politics, and corrupt federal courts. I think that's a good point. I think the democracy index ranks the United States as like a flawed democracy even now. So yeah. Not great. Adrian Martinez says, I think that Biden's team failed him by not bringing him out a lot earlier in his term, so people would be used to his gaffes and old man behaviors. They fumbled it so badly, leading to shock. I agree with that. I think his team, his PR team, his public affairs team, his communication team has done a really poor job. I agree with that. If Biden came on your father's podcast, it would be a savvy political move, in my humble opinion. Dude, that would be sick. That would be sick. D Rabbit White says, wow, how hard is it to defend a friend? No. His friend came out as trans and was getting buried, and Mr. Beast did a lot to help. I think that is admirable. Mr. Beast can't run for president for 9 years. Good. Mr. Beast is mostly popular to people under 30, so if you're over 30 and you're watching, you're in the minority. Mr. Beast and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in 2028. Okay, totally joking, although I would actually vote for Jon Stewart if he ran. I don't like the idea of celebrities running for public office. I just don't like it. It doesn't seem democratic. I just don't like it. Like, I like Jon Stewart. Even that made me be like, I just don't like it. Thoughts on a Kanye West president? Come on. That's not a serious question. Would it be possible for Kamala to nominate Biden as vice president? I think technically, but I don't think that would be a good move. Citizens United was a mess. I agree. I don't think people talk enough about Citizens United. I mean, people on the left do. AOC, Bernie do, but that's about it. Did the keys shift after the influx of money? No, I think money's always influenced politics. Maybe not to this degree, but it's always influenced politics. Hello, Blaze. Even Jon Stewart himself says he's not fit to be president. That's why I like Jon Stewart, because he says shit like that. What about the Jean Carroll thing? How could any woman really vote for Trump? There are a lot of conservative women out there. I hate to break it to you. Probably the pro-choice movement is, I mean, the pro-life movement is probably predominantly women. Do you think Biden should do more interviews and fight for his presidency, or play it safe and let the chips fall where they may? I think he should do weekly addresses to the public. The interviews are stupid. I might have said before he should do more interviews. If I did say that, I'd take it back. The interviews are stupid. The mainstream media's questions to him are dumb. He should be doing weekly, at least, like fireside chats that he posts on his social. That's my recommendation to him, which I'm sure will get right to him, straight to his ear. Jamie Smith says, earlier this morning, your mom posted on Facebook that your dad was doing some kind of show, and tuning in, listening to that show included Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Adam Schiff. Is that true? Not that I know of. I don't think so. Robert Reichs talks about Citizens United as well. My email is full of desperate Democrats trying to tell me about Citizens United. All right, that's a fair point. I like Robert Reich too. Do I like Howard Stern? I do like Howard Stern. I used to have Sirius XM. I haven't had it for years, but when I used to have it, I listened to him. Citizens Take Action is an organization against Citizens United. Take money out of politics. I think honestly that's one of our biggest issues is big money in politics. Trump hates dogs and cats. Vote for Joe if you care about furry fans. Facts. I think Bill Maher has, this is Joe, I think Bill Maher has unique takes, so sometimes I'll listen to him. I just think sometimes he's funny, honestly. I think sometimes he's just funny. Adrian says, to be honest, I'm bummed Biden is almost out. I feel like I'm the only young person who likes Biden. Honestly, I'm just really let down by the Democratic Party. Not gonna lie, I might be an independent. This sucks, bro. I have a lot of my friends still like Biden. They're young. I think there's some sort of media bullhorn saying that young people hate Biden. I don't necessarily think that's true. I think there are a lot of young people who don't like him for sure, but there are also a lot of people that do like him. When will your dad do an update on the state of the Keys? I don't know. That's a good question. Are approval rating numbers determined in the same way as polling? I'm not sure. Oh, Jeff Crusan's here. What's up, Jeff? It can be suggested that money doesn't influence general elections. However, money plays a huge role in primaries, which is why we still need to fix it, obviously. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah. Money in local, smaller primaries, especially, state level, Senate races, House races. Yeah. Money can play a big factor. Young people just hate answering polls. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, I've never been contacted for a poll in my life, I don't think. I get a bit trolled for believing in the Keys because the polling is so awful. Let the trolls troll, bro. Who the fuck cares? How can any senior citizen vote for Trump since he wants to take a fifth of their Social Security away from them for the next 5 years? I think that's a fair point. Do you think schools should teach more critical thinking skills? Is Trump being a nominee a product of that? I don't think he's a product of that. What do you mean by critical thinking skills? Like reading comp? They do reading comp stuff. They do logic stuff. What do you mean specifically? Jeff says, to piggyback on that, Hillary lost a presidential election despite out fundraising and outspending Trump. But on the House level, AOC won in 2018, outspent 18-1. Yeah, but AOC is an outlier. That's not typical. Citizens United is legal corruption. Not the worst take I've ever heard. Will Biden drop out this weekend? I don't think so. In 2020, the Dems did not follow the keys and they won despite it. That it seems that might be the case in 2024 too. How did they not listen to the keys in 2020? Matty Boy 230 says, I live in Pittsburgh, PA. I am in my 40s. I've never been contacted for these so-called PA swing state polls. There you go. Nancy Pelosi denied earlier that she said she was pessimistic about Biden's chances. Okay, there you go. American civics should be taught at multiple grade levels. I don't disagree with that. Rob Pietras says, my daughter is 15. She's been down on Biden's age even before the debate. She's not very political. I don't even know where she's getting that. Probably TikTok and Snapchat. Adrian says, I agree that the media definitely has been hammering Biden lately. It feels like they're all telling us that we need to leave and not just reporting the news, like they should learn their place. Fair point. One of Australia's most popular betting companies, Sportsbet, has changed their odds for winner of the election to Trump 1.5, Harris 1.5 to 1, Harris 4 to 1, Biden 17 to 1, Michelle Biden 18 to 1. Damn. Biden, that's a good bet to put on Biden right now. Just saying. Do you think Biden knows about the keys? I think my dad says yes. I don't know if he's currently thinking about them, but my dad's shared his book with him. Honestly, social media has melted so many people's brains. People don't listen or learn to maintain a conversation. Very true. There's a documentary on Netflix kind of about that. What's it called? It's really good, and it shows you how it's manipulating your brain. Something. What's it called? Did I watch Biden's speech at the NAACP event? That was amazing. I didn't. Most people had no idea about the keys during 2016. Trump and the GOP got lucky and seized the opportunity at the right place and right time, though very low cunning and populist rhetoric. I think people knew about the keys. I don't know how many people knew about the keys in 2016, but I do agree Trump just got lucky, right place, right time. But maybe he planned that. I don't know. He said he was going to run for president for probably 20 years, and that's the time he chose to run. Maybe he knew something. If the keys ultimately predicted Trump will win, will your dad have advice on how to prepare for a second Trump term? That's a good idea. I should run that by him for sure. Who's my favorite whack packer? Beetlejuice. Dennis says, why am I still worried that Russia isn't still messing with polls and social media bots? Well, they're certainly messing with social media. All countries do. Were they messing with polls before? I haven't heard that. Raskin says this race is going to determine the fate of the planet. I don't think so. I think it's a little bit of an overreaction. The Social Dilemma, that's the social media documentary I was talking about. That does a really good job of explaining what social media does to us, and it's pretty horrific. Now I have to Google Whackpacker. Whackpacker is just like these like off-ball reoccurring guests that Howard Stern has on his show. Russia sure wants Trump back, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. Russia is complicated. I don't know. Like, you would think, I don't know, because you would think not, because they want to attack Ukraine, and they didn't do it under Trump. Well, they did do it under Trump. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now, actually. I just don't like when people are like, look, Trump could solve this in a day, and there were no wars under Trump, and Vladimir Putin didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was president. It's like, again, all those are jumps in logic. None of those prove anything necessarily. If Biden stays in and has a terrible second term debate, then what? If it doesn't affect the keys, it doesn't affect the keys. That's the way I see it. Do you think your dad was feeling a little pessimistic tonight? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he was. Adrian says, I think TikTok has definitely contributed to this mess. So many people spewing stuff on there who have no idea what they're talking about. Like so many of my friends only getting info from TikTok. I agree. I have people that I think are really smart and I really respect, and they've started talking to me about things, and I'm like, that sounds weird. Like, are you sure that's true? Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into specifics or people, but like, people come to me saying something, right, in conversation. I'm like, that sounds strange. Where, like, are you sure that's true? And they're like, yeah, it's true, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, where did you get that information? And they're always like, TikTok. And I'm like, bro, that's not a good source of information. Sam, have you read Watchmen? The insane state of the world right now is reminding me a lot of it. I have not read. It's a book. It's also a movie. This Trump will be a dictator stuff is just garbage. It's not garbage, Cameron. It's based off of his own ideas, his own proposals, and his own speech. It's not garbage. You can cite directly to Trump policies, words, ideas that are in the vein of authoritarianism. Watchmen is a graphic novel. Okay, I'll check it out. Send me again when my video posts. Send me a link to where to get the graphic novel. I'm interested in it. Joe says, the problem I have with Biden dropping out is I think it makes the Democrats look weak. Think about how Trump would be all over that move for the rest of the election. I don't think it really matters. You know, these existential peripheral ideas of weakness and strength, and I don't think people vote on that. And the keys say they don't either, right? The keys say vote up or down on the party holding the White House, which is based on policy, foreign policy, and all the keys. I don't need to go over the keys. Yeah, everybody knows the keys. I don't know. If Biden wins in 2024, do you think Trump would run again in 2028 and could win because of the keys? I think I've talked about this before. I don't think so because he'd be too old, but maybe his Don Jr. would. It's possible. Yes, Trump says crazy shit, but nobody seriously believes the dictator stuff, right? Cameron, he tried to overturn a free and fair election. That's what dictators do. It's not just saying crazy shit. It's look at his actions too. I mean, that alone, I don't even need to go, like, he tried to overturn a free and fair election. That's what authoritarians do. Zolt is leaving. Why are you leaving, Zolt? No, I'm kidding. Have a good night. Have a good one. Honestly, if I was a betting man, and I am, and this is not betting advice, how to phrase this? If I was a betting man, this would be the best time to vote for Biden. Because he's at his lowest odds, probably possible. And he's still, right now, has a 50% chance of winning. You know what I mean? There's two choices right now, him or Biden. I mean, him or Trump. What app can I place a bet on Biden? Actually, I'm not sure. I don't know if there is an app you can do that. You might have to go to Vegas to do that. Do I think Trump has a chance of going to jail on September 18th? No. That man is the Teflon Don, man. Nothing can get him. Not a bullet, not a judge, nobody can get that man. I want to believe that if Biden stays in and wins against everyone's expectations, it will be a huge vindication of the keys in everyone's eyes. Bro, if that happens, my dad's going to be, bro, he can be as arrogant and his ego can be as big as he wants, dude. He deserves it, like, especially for sticking to his guns. You know, he could have folded. He could have been like, maybe my keys are, no, dude, he stayed consistent, dude. And if that all happens, man, he can say, I told you so to all these mother effers, dude. Every single one of them. Another authoritarian trait is firing every person who does not do what you want, even if it's illegal, and then sticking your follows on them. Good point. Another authoritarian tactic is calling a leader of another country, asking for dirt on your political opponents. Another authoritarian trait. Again, it's like if you have objective facts to back up your stance that Trump has a lot of issues when it comes to him possibly being an authoritarian, then it's not hyperbole. It's not insane to say. You got the receipts, baby. Monique says, I don't believe the American electorate is ready for a dictatorship, especially if the president is already a convicted felon. I agree with you. I don't think Trump's going to win. I've been saying it. I don't think he's going to win, bruh. What do I do for a living? I don't really like talking about what I do for a living because I have like a regular day job. I don't like talking about it. I just don't want to mix the two, you know? Do I think Trump will jail ordinary people who don't like him? No, I don't think so. Trump said he'd be a dictator on day one, but Trump over here thinks Trump is fighting for democracy. Right. Like, Cameron, how did you deny that we're quoting a man who says he'll be a dictator on day one? And then people are like, don't call him a dictator. It's like, bro, he said that. What the fuck am I supposed to say? I'm quoting the man. People want the keys to be correct because if the keys are correct and people and politics starts to follow it, then people try to govern well. Yes, That would be great if if politicians stopped worrying about polls and electability and all this bullshit and started worrying about governing well. That would be an amazing thing for America, right? Lewin Genzinger says, as an independent, I would say that the Trump is a dictate. I would say that the Trump is a dictator, and that this last election stuff makes Democrats sound hysterical and doesn't appeal to us. All right, I don't know. Okay, you have to be able to call out the crazy shit he's done and said without people just being, dude, that's so hysterical. It's like, Trump is the hysterical one. He's the one saying and doing these things. Why don't you call out Trump instead of the people who are criticizing Trump? They're criticizing Trump based on his actions. I'm not saying no one is being hysterical. No one's overdoing it, obviously. But it just pisses me off. It's like people are like, dude, you're so overreacting, calling Trump a dictator. Dude, authoritarian, really? Dude, really? It's like, I'm just quoting the man and presenting the actions that he did. Dems are trying to replace their nominee after millions of people voted for him. That's an insurrection. It's not an insurrection. I agree. They shouldn't be doing that. I don't think it's an insurrection, but I agree they shouldn't be doing that. Do you think Biden will cave and drop out next week? No, I don't think he's going to drop out. I said 40%, so 60% chance I think he's not going to drop out. So I think most likely he will not drop out. Is there anything that you and your dad strongly disagree on with politics? I think someone asked me this before. Nothing huge, but we disagree plenty. I agree that Trump is an authoritarian and has dictatorial character, but do you think he's actually malicious like Hitler or just deeply selfish? And he goes, okay, Trump is not Hitler. I don't know many people who are saying that. And let me be clear, Trump is not Hitler. Is he malicious? I think he's mostly driven by selfishness and ego. Yeah, I think that's what he's mostly driven by. Trump is not Hitler, period. It has been argued that Putin was awaiting Trump's re-election before full-on invading. People forget that Putin has been trying to take over Ukraine at least since 2014. This whole thing that, like, Putin invaded when Biden became in office, so he was waiting for Biden, or was he waiting for Trump to be elected and got tired? I don't think we'll ever know that answer, and it's kind of a debate that's not worth having. You can't prove a negative. You can't prove that this would have happened if Trump was in, if Trump was out, if Biden. It's like there's no way to prove it. So it's kind of a pointless debate. Hello, Grycicle. Diamond Dave says, on Truth Social in December of 2022, Trump wrote, a massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Thank you, Diamond Dave. Diamond Dave. We got receipts on Trump. He's posting this from his own social media account. For you to say, oh, tone it down with the... Bro, I'm just quoting the man himself. If you want it to be toned down, talk to Trump. Am I Jewish? My dad's Jewish. My mom's not. I guess I'm identify as Jewish. Am I going to rewind and watch some of Trump's speech? I might just check YouTube and see what, if there's like a highlight video or people reacting to it or something. Did I see everyone was wearing a white patch over their right ear to show solidarity at the convention? Is that true? Like a lot of people were, or like a few people were? That's kind of funny. I mean, I don't want to say funny because I don't want to mock a shooting, but it's a little weird. According to Professor Mearsheimer, a highly respected political scientist on international politics / military affairs, says that the constant expansion of NATO is one reason Russia decided to invade. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, there are probably so many reasons why Putin did or didn't do what he did. It's kind of honestly American-centric, such typical Americans to be like, he did it just because of our election. It's like, there are probably a lot of other reasons why. And again, he's been doing this since 2014. It's not a new thing, right? Wing Sabri says, as a physician, I find it weird that they used an excessively large bandage to cover it if it's made that big for a political statement. Dude, there are a lot of questions about this shooting that still need to be answered. It's a lot of question marks, and they may never be answered. There's a lot of questions about JFK that still aren't answered, but there's a lot of question marks that need to be answered. What things about our current society drive you nuts? I don't like talking about it. That seems too negative. I don't like talking about, like, list things that you hate. I don't really like answering questions like that. Good night, Queen Sarabi. Nahiro Chan says, even if Putin was waiting for Biden because he thought he was weak, Biden's response to the invasion showed that he isn't, but Trumpers refused to accept that anyway, so it's not worth arguing. You can go 1,000 different directions, and again, you can't prove, you cannot prove one way or the other. So what the fuck is the point of debating this? You know what I mean? And, Trump says he can solve this conflict in a day. The conflict was ongoing during his presidency. Yes, maybe Russia didn't take more land, but Russia had invaded and taken land. Yes, under Obama. But if he could solve this so easily, why wouldn't he have done something about the already taken land when he was president? It's a question to ask. What platforms are you guys primarily on? YouTube? Primarily on YouTube. You can follow my dad at Allan Lichtman on everything. X or Twitter. I don't like calling it X. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I'm just on YouTube and Instagram at Sammy Licht. That's it. See me after classes. As a political science student, I really appreciate you and your father. There are so many so many histrionic morons. That's very different than historians that have been freaking out over Biden's electability. I agree with you. In a few decades from now, where the keys keep going, being maintained by someone else, so we have them for more elections? That's a good question. I don't have an answer to that. I hope my dad's still here, even decades to come, but I don't know. What is the website for the keys? There's no website for the keys. It's just, you look at the Wikipedia, I guess. What do you mean by the website? Did you have a Twitch? No, we're just on YouTube. I'm not super familiar with how Twitch works, so I just stick to YouTube. Maybe that's a mistake, but does your dad get paid to be on live TV? No. No, he does it just out of the genuineness of his heart. Baron, another guy asked me if I'm Jewish. My dad's Jewish, my mom's not. I identify as Jewish. Your dad would be a great president, or at very least an advisor to the president. I think he's more of an advisor type of guy. He ran for U.S. Senate in Maryland in 2006, 2004, and he lost. So that was the start and the end of his political career. Peter Zahan says Russia wants to protect its borders. That's why they attacked Ukraine and won't stop there. I feel that Ukraine has fertile soil with ports. Yes, definitely. I mean, they already took Crimea. That's like their most important port, right? So you're Jewish. Yes. Ha, ha, ha. Very funny. Ha, ha, ha. Joe says, I also haven't heard any Democrats compare Trump to Hitler lately, but obviously J.D. Vance did. How come no one's saying J.D. Vance is comparing him to Hitler? Good question. Yeah, I saw Piers Morgan play this clip of people calling Donald Trump Hitler, and it was mostly people quoting Donald Trump quoting Hitler, or people citing Trump's own words on Hitler. The U.S. has for decades been too aggressive with their promotion of democracy when most countries don't really want it and are not ready for it given the level of development they're in. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that U.S. foreign policy major isn't even a big enough word, gargantuan failures in their foreign policy and their democracy spreading. I don't necessarily think that means that we should abandon it. I think we should look at the context of a situation and decide whether or not we should become involved. I think Ukraine is a good example of, like, you look at the context, you're like, fuck, we should really help. You know what I mean? Anthony, there's a 13 keys tracker website, I think. That's an interactive keys thing. D. Rabbit White says, Putin believes that Ukraine is an illegitimate country that exists on land that's historically and rightfully Russian. Ukraine actually has never had stable traditions of real statehood, as he puts it. I think Kyiv and Ukrainian culture has existed just as long, if not longer, than Russian culture. So I think that's wrong. Your dad can still run for Senate. Nancy's 83 and still running. The president 81. That's a good point. I don't think my dad wants that, though. What's up, Patrick Murray? If Jeffries or Schumer publicly call for Biden to drop out, what do you think would happen? I think you asked me this question, but just with different names, Cameron. I was taught in debate that you should really try to avoid comparing things to Hitler, as it's such an extreme that it loses some credibility. Trump is more like Mussolini. I agree. I don't think Hitler comparisons are helpful. But again, if the man is quoting Hitler, that's a different thing. Tom T, I can't answer that question. You gotta ask my dad. Ukraine was historically the center of the Russian Empire. Putin thinks it belongs to Russia and not itself, but people believe they are Ukrainian. Okay, I didn't know that. Is voter turnout part of the keys? No. Bro, Vance is literally Palin 2.0. No, he's not. Come on. Palin? Vance? Nah. Russia formed out of the Principality of Muscovy, which formed out of the Grand Duchy of Kiev in like 1900s or something. Okay, I didn't know that. But still, my point is true that Ukrainians have their own separate culture outside of Moscow and more modern Russian culture. I don't even like getting into these debates because it's like Ukraine is a sovereign nation. They've been attacked. They don't want to be attacked. They want to defend themselves. End of discussion. This whole going back to the 1900s, I don't think is relevant. It's not relevant. It's like we have all the facts on the table currently. We don't need to go back, you know? Thank you, Mendy, for the kind words. Do I think Zelda will be turned into a movie? Everything else is being turned into a movie. I sure hope not, man. I feel like a Zelda. I love Zelda. As people know, I played it on the stream. I feel like it would be a terrible movie. And just like let things be, Hollywood. Just let it be as a video game. If you don't need we don't need a live adaptation. We don't need an animated. We just leave it be. Plenty of Republic. No one knows what Nobody knows what Biden will do. Plenty of Republicans called Trump out in 2016 and nothing happened. Very good point. I hadn't thought about it in that way before, but that's a very good point. Palin paved the way for people like Trump and Vance. You really think so? I don't know. I feel like Palin is her own entity, and not a very serious one at that, and never had any real power. I mean, she was the governor of a state, which is powerful, but she never had any national power. Bill Maher says that Biden will drop out on August 8th, the 50th anniversary of Nixon's resignation. Why would Biden do that? Why would he want to align himself with the 50th anniversary of Nixon's resignation? Is that even real, Cameron? I feel like that's just bullshit. Sometimes you post these headlines. Like, that doesn't feel like a real headline to me. Tears of the Kingdom #1. Agreed. Regardless of whether or not Ukraine is Russian, Putin is in the wrong. Agreed. When McCain picked Palin, she normalized attacking the media and spewed bad shit. There's a PBS documentary about it. It's really interesting. Okay, I see where you're coming from in that perspective. After the Access Hollywood video, GOP wanted Trump out, and 2/3 of them pulled. They want him out. Polls swing widely. Good point. What do you think of Elon Musk endorsing Trump? I think Elon Musk sucks ass, and I don't give a fuck that he endorsed Trump, and I don't think it'll matter at all. And I don't care for Elon Musk's personal or political persona. Personal public or political persona. As he acts, as his personality seems in the public eye, that I mean. Obviously I don't know him as a person. Time for everybody's saying I need to go to sleep. Do I look tired? Yeah, maybe I should sign off. All right. Yeah, I am tired. I need to eat. Ugh, crap. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. This was a great stream for my dad's channel and for my channel. When's my next stream? I don't know. I'll stream as soon as I can. But turn on the bell if you're subscribed, and you'll know that I'm live. Thank you all. Thank you, Diamond Dave. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Bradley Mustaine, Ant, Vincent Valentine, D. Rabbit White, Tom T. Thank you all very much. Good night.